Okay, well, that was a little too close for comfort, but the Raptors find a way with their championship experience and championship DNA to get the W in Atlanta 119-116. This is the Airborne Podcast. I'm your host Ajit, and we're going to break it all down for you from the beginning. But to start things off, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to start with the Atlanta Hawks and talk about some of the things they did today because the Raptors were trash. They did not play well. It was very frustrating to watch. And I honestly thought they were going to give up the game after three quarters, the way they were playing. Like they would have a good run, and then they would give it up after a timeout and let the Atlanta Hawks go on a run. And it was just two back and forth, and it was like it just didn't look like it was in the Raptors' favor today. But that's why I mentioned their championship experience in DNA because they did not crack under pressure. They were able to get stops when they needed it, and they were able to make timely buckets when it was necessary. But Trae Young, he went for a triple-double. He had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He was 11 of 23 from the field, 4 of 11 from 3, and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. And the rookie for the Atlanta Hawks, DeAndre Hunter himself, had 26 points. And, they had a solid lead in the third quarter, but once Trae Young went out, their offense was staggering a bit, and we were able to make a little comeback and close the gap on them before the fourth quarter. And we had the lead at one point, but DeAndre Hunter made some timely buckets and was able to keep them in front. And I believe we went into the fourth quarter down 390 to 87. And they had some solid contributions from Bembry, Jabari Parker, Damon Jones. They were all solid, but the highlight for the Atlanta Hawks was Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter. And honestly, before this game went on, or before it began, I thought that the Raptors were going to easily blow them out and, go into Philly, and that was going to be the key matchup on Monday. But the Atlanta Hawks definitely gave the Raptors a run for their money. They came out, they played hard. They were on a 5-game losing streak, so they were desperate, and the Raptors knew that, but they let them stay in the game. And we were also undermanned, so, I can't really get mad at them completely, but, they've been playing so well, so I was expecting it to continue. It was at a point where, the Raptors had a solid 8-point lead with, a minute and change left, and they just let them get back into it with a bunch of open threes. And DeAndre Hunter hit a couple open threes, which got them back to as close as 2 points. And then Rondé had a dunk or a layup right at the end to get a 3-point play, but Jabari came from behind, blocked it. And that's when I was a little scared. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought he was going to miss both free throws. And to be honest, it reminded me of a game back in 2015 against the OKC Thunder in Toronto, where I don't know if you remember John Salmons, but he had 2 free throws to make in that game. He missed both, and Kevin Durant came to the other side of the court and popped a 3 and broke every Raptors fan's heart in that arena and whoever was watching. And this kind of felt like that as well because Rondé missed his first free throw, and I honestly didn't have faith he'd make the second one, but he did, thankfully. So the worst case scenario was only that Atlanta could take it into overtime because they were definitely not going to get a 4-point play. The Raptors defense is too smart, and they would never foul someone like that. But Trae Young came down. Vince Carter made a pass to backcourt. Trae Young kind of took a little too long, I think. Maybe cut maybe a second off before he passed half court. And Rondé played the best defense he could, even though it looked like he was about to be put on skates. And Trae Young popped a 3, but he missed it. And the Raptors are now 11-4 and send the Atlanta Hawks home packing with a 6-game losing streak. Fred VanVleet also came out to play today. He's been nothing but solid ever since Kyle Lowry's been out. He had 25 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. He wasn't efficient from the field. 7 of 21, 33% from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. So he only shot 22% from 3. And he was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, so that's good. And our boy, Spicy P Skills himself, had himself a ball game. He had 34 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, 2 turnovers. He was 11 of 18 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, and 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Even though DeAndre Hunter did play a solid game, he made Pascal work. But every time Pascal got the switch, he went crazy. Jabari Parker, every time he saw Jabari, green light. As soon as the second quarter, or it's not the second quarter, as soon as the second half started, the first possession, Fred VanVleet got the steal, ran into the paint, then tossed it back out to Siakam. Siakam popped the three. Then they got a defensive stop. Siakam came back running down the court, popped another three, and then Atlanta called the timeout. And after that, Atlanta went back on a run, and it was just back and forth. It was just like the Raptors never had one point where they just took over the game. It was always little spurts, but they always let Atlanta come back and take a bigger lead. And yeah, honestly, it was very frustrating to watch. And an old Raptors team would have probably gave that up, would have lost that game, but these guys know how to win now, and they won't give these games up to teams that are inexperienced like the Atlanta Hawks. Even the Dallas Mavericks game, like they were so close to winning that game as well, but unfortunately they didn't make the shots they needed to when it mattered most. And that happens sometimes, and you can't blame them, because in that game they showed the effort, they showed the resiliency, and they were good. Like I was proud of them that game. Even the Clippers game too. This game just felt like too muddy. And Rondé and Chris Boucher definitely came out to play in that fourth quarter because they were rebounding like animals out there. Like we were able to get away with playing small with those guys because they're such good, they're really good offensive rebounders, and it was really fun to watch them getting us extra possessions and throwing it out to like Van Vliet for a three or Norman Powell for a three. Norman came to play. Storm and Norman really came to play today. He's been on a tear, and he had 20 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 8 of 15 from the field, so very efficient, and 3 of 8 from 3. Marc Gasol had his typical game, single digits in points, rebounds, and a few assists. But he played, that old man defense, and he was like the anchor for us, and he facilitated the offense from time to time. But, overall, it's a W, so I can't be upset. I would have probably came in pissed off if they lost this game, because not only was it not entertaining, it was just, it was, I don't know how to explain it. If you're a Raptors fan, you'll understand these type of games because we've been through so many of these in the past. It just reminded me of that. I just had like a quick flashback of all the games that were like this that we had in the bag, and then we just let it slip, and then we lost. Serge Ibaka, updates on the injured players. Serge Ibaka apparently was supposed to be back today. Well, I mean, they said he was unlikely to play, but he was in practice working out, so he might be back next game. There's no update on Lowry, but it's been 2 weeks since he last played. I'm assuming that he would come back maybe at the beginning of December. Hopefully December 1st, but I'm thinking he's probably going to make his return on December 8th, which is against Philadelphia, because the last game he played was against the Pelicans, and that was on November 8th, so that would be the official 1 month mark. But it's still in question, so we'll have to wait and see. But if the Raptors keep playing like this, I mean, he can get all the rest he needs, because the more he rests, the better he is, and the more fresh he is for the playoffs. And Nick Nurse is definitely gaining more and more trust for these players that are coming in and covering for Lowry and Ibaka and McCaw. Terrence Davis hasn't disappointed, Rondé hasn't disappointed, and Boucher haven't disappointed. And they've been able to hold their own, and they're showing that there is a bench mob 2.0 in the works. Matt Thomas is also part of that, but The depth that we thought we never had, they're showing that we do have it as long as they get the opportunity. The thing is with these guys right now, they're playing so freely because they know that they have an undermanned team, so they have no one to worry about, waiting in the back, lurking in case they do play bad. They know they're going to get the minutes right now, so they can go out there and play their game. They just have to fill their roles. Ronde, all he has to do, just go out, play some defense. His name right now is Ronde Hustle Jefferson. Goes out, get those offensive rebounds, play some serious defense, and cut to the basket and get those easy baskets. That's all you have to do. Matt Thomas, run around, screens, shoot open threes. That's all you got to do. Chris Boucher, play defense, offensive rebound, alley-oops, open threes. It's just an easy game for these guys. When they got guys that know how to play the game around them, it's very easy for them to do what they got to do. And they're learning because they're getting the extra minutes now, so they're figuring it all out on the fly. Next game up, I believe it's going to be, Philadelphia is the next game. And that's going to be a tough matchup because you remember what happened last year in the playoffs. They have a lot of size. Starting from the point guard all the way to the center position. And their new acquisitions of Josh Richardson and Al Horford, it hasn't worked the best because they're still trying to figure it out, and they don't really have a lot of three-point shooting and a lot of bench depth, but their starting five is a team to definitely mess with. It's going to be hard to score on those guys with all that size because Van Vliet's obviously small. Norman Powell isn't a big guard, and Pascal, he's really the size of a small forward, but he plays the power forward position, and he's going to have to go up against Al Horford, and Al Horford's a really good defender. They put Al Horford on Giannis all the time, so we'll see how that goes. And then the beast himself, the ultimate Toronto meme, Joel Embiid. He is going to be a matchup nightmare, but Marc Gasol, I can trust Marc Gasol to hold his own against him because even last year in the playoffs, he did a really good job, even though it only came down to one last possession to, break the difference between us and Philadelphia. That 4-bounce shot is what helped us get the championship. And I know Sixers fans are very salty about that, but last year just wasn't their year. Their team was too young. They didn't figure it out. And hopefully maybe this year is. We'll see them again. We're not going anywhere. Even though we lost Kawhi, we're still a top 4 team in the East. And with the type of hounding defense we play, we can beat anybody on any night in any series, regular season or playoffs. We just got to get our full team back. Kyle Lowry has to come back, and Ibaka. And I'm telling you, the way they're playing defense right now, we can beat anybody. You saw what we did to the Clippers. You saw what we did to the Lakers. You saw what we did to Portland. Even Boston, we had that game in the bag too. Milwaukee, we were down 25. We came back and cut it to single digits. These games, we just don't throw away games if we're not winning. We put our maximum effort, we literally put our maximum effort, and we go hard, and we play every possession out, and we don't give up until the buzzer goes off. So Philadelphia is on the 25th, which is on Monday, and then we got the New York Knicks. The New York Knickerbockers, the best team in the NBA with the worst owner. Oh man, that's going to be a fun game. And both these games against Philly and New York is at home. And then we go to Orlando to end the month off. And hopefully Larry doesn't stay out any more longer than that because we do play Utah at home on the 1st of December. And I'm hoping that we have him back because that's going to be Mike Conley's going to be the point guard for that team. And a Larry-Mike Conley matchup would be very nice, especially because there's a lot of history between them two as they were fighting for that starting point guard position in Memphis before the coach came in and picked Conley over Larry. Larry was a first round pick. He was the 24th pick of the 2006 NBA draft. And Mike Conley, I believe, was the 4th pick in the 2007 draft. So they went with the lottery pick. And I mean, Lowry was on the bench for a bit in Memphis, but then they traded him and shipped him off to Houston. And after Houston, he had some good moments in Houston, but he officially, figured out his role and got his own team once he got to Toronto. He had a little time there where Calderon was kind of, the starting point guard, but once we shipped out Calderon, we gave the keys to Lowry and we're like, here you go, drive us to the finish line. And he did. When he signed that last contract with us, he said that he wants to take us to new heights and he wants to take us to places we've never been. Well, Kawhi Leonard came, and him and Kawhi took us to where we needed to go, and also Steady Freddy, Pascal's emergence, all of that, and they got us a chip, and now we just got to keep adding chips. I want the chips with the dip. Well, and that's the best way to end it off, but that's going to do it for this podcast episode. If you enjoyed it, as usual, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, support your boy, show your boy some love. And I'll see you when the Philadelphia game is done. But till then, stay blessed. Peace!